were asking me to tell a story, and the story is very simple, which is that I was visiting with a beloved younger sister of mine, and she was very pregnant in the end of her pregnancy, and she was discomfort physically because of the pregnancy. And so I sat with her and her mother, and I showed her mother how to give her a foot rub. And so we each took one foot and gave her a foot rub to relax her, and she was very relaxed. And then I massaged her scalp, and she got a big smile on her face, and she said, "Oh, that feels so good, it takes the tension out, because I'm carrying all this extra weight from the pregnancy." I said, "Well, you have to show your husband how to do it so he can do it." And she looked, her eyes got big, and she looked at me and she said, "Punjabi men don't do that." And it made me stop and think, if you're stuck in a role because of what you think other people will think of you, or because of your culture, or because of your history, or because of some concept, then you can't respond in the moment to the need of the moment, because you're trapped. You're trapped in that self-image or in that role stereotype. So I think what's required at this time to live consciously is a flexibility, a strength of spirit, and a flexibility to the needs of the time and space.
Many men look at getting in a relationship as a subservient kind of thing, where the woman is there to serve me. I'm the man, I'm the head of the household, I'm in charge. It's all ego-based, and their job is to cook and clean and do everything for me. I get to sit around here while the women hover around and cook and clean. And it's a reality. I mean, I've seen a lot of Indian families, and this is very ingrained. And it's not to say that there isn't good things in this culture, but I think in a lot of the ways in many relationships and many families, this has been very skewed. And where you said, when it loses this flexibility and it's this rigid thing, then it's not supportive, and that's where abusive relationships come in, where the woman basically feels powerless. She feels like a slave in her own home from her extended family, who, it's this whole hierarchy. She can't go out until she gets permission and she's an adult. Meanwhile, we're talking about 20 to 30-year-old woman who's married, but her husband's parents won't let, have this whole control. And to me, that is not a good way to have a relationship. And we get this. I mean, I've talked to many people who've been in relationships such as this, and I'm like, you got to get out of the house. If your husband, your husband needs to support you, and he needs to be there for you first and foremost. If your extended family environment is not supportive of that, you're just going to have more and more trouble. So you have to look at yourself. But it's important you have a person that is a partner and not like your boss. Not only Punjabi men wouldn't do that, but it's not their role. If you were to be caught doing some of those non-roles, your gender role, culturally within your family and your circle, it would be like, oh my God, she shouldn't be doing that, or he shouldn't be doing that. You should be doing that. You're a bad wife.
There's cultures all over the world where that's how they look at masculinity. If you talk to Southerners, we have a very good friend, and he thinks I was a terrible wife, and he thinks Gurkha Singh was a terrible husband to let me work evening shift in a hospital. And he could have been really sick, but he would have never gone into the kitchen and cooked for himself. And now he's changing. And he does cook for himself, and his whole life has changed because the world is changing. But I'm just saying it's very strong there, but it exists in a lot of places that's the standard. The male is the person out in the world, and the woman is the person who nurtures and makes that.
I was just reminded that the Khalsa, that's what the Khalsa transcends gender. It's like, it was the first time people really realized that women could also take on, right? Women can be warriors. Women go out there and do the exact same thing. The Khalsa always transcended gender.
It transcends the past, and it's such a practical way of living, because you're not trapped in your identity as a man. I am a man. You're not trapped in your identity as a woman. I am a woman. You are exalted in your identity of Khalsa. which means that you can meet any situation, you can meet any occasion, you can rise to the moment, because whatever the Guru requires you to do at that moment, everything you need to do it is at hand at that moment, right? Whether it's cooking dinner, right? Or whether it's fighting, whatever you need to do at that moment, everything you need is right there at that moment. So Khalsa is not about the past, it's not about gender roles, it's not about culture, it's not about anything. It's only about reality. It's about living as a conscious human, present in each moment and ready to serve the Guru in whatever way he needs you to serve at that moment. So that's the beauty of it.
And the dichotomy of it is that people go, yes, that's what Khalsa is, and I'm a Khalsa, but I still expect my wife to behave in this way. So sometimes when that's right in your face and what that's going to mean, you want it to be exactly that. You want to maintain that old thing, but I think there's no way to stop.
You can't be Khalsa and be a hypocrite. It doesn't work.